Hello, and welcome to Marshall Matters with me, Winston Marshall, at The Spectator. This week, I have rather a different kind of interview. Last night, I spoke with Svyatoslav Vakarchuk. Svyatoslav is the lead singer of Okean Elzy, Ukraine's biggest band. He's a household name and an artist who fills stadia across Ukraine and beyond. In 2014, the band broke the record for the biggest concert in his home country, with 75,000 attending their show at the Olympic Stadium. Svyatoslav's talents go far beyond music. He has a PhD in theoretical physics. He was the first person to answer every question correctly on Ukraine's version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He's a philanthropist and a social entrepreneur. Vakarchuk's career has dipped in and out of politics. In 2019, he founded Holos, or Voice, a pro-European liberal political party. Soon after, he was elected to Parliament and served there for a year. Even in normal circumstances, it would be an honour to speak with this man. But these aren't normal circumstances. When we spoke, it was the 11th day since Russia had invaded his country in what has been and continues to be a brutal and bloody war. Thank you so much, Mr. Vakarchuk, for taking the time in this unbelievable time to speak with me.
Thank you.
Of course, now speaking to you, this is the 11th day of conflict since Russia's invaded your country. Where are you, and what can you tell us about those 11 days?
Today is my, I don't know, I cannot say anything about war in terms of working days and day offs, but I happened to come back to my native city of Lviv to visit my mom, because today would be my dad's birthday. Would he be alive? He unfortunately passed away. So we went to the cemetery, and it was a little bit of a private thing. But also, I officially joined the self-defense unit today. It was just question of doing it officially with documents. So I still doing what I do. The previous 10 days, I was traveling a lot around Ukraine and visiting many places in the east, namely Kharkiv and Zaporizhia and Dnipro and Odessa and other places. So we mainly went to see the hospitals and to visit, to speak to personnel, and also to wounded soldiers. The other thing we did, I made meetings with members of territorial self-defense. Also, we did a lot of interviews, and we meet officials in the regions, in the councils. So what I'm actually doing, I can, in a jokingly, I subscribe it. It's a mixture of I would say what Marlene Dietrich did during the war, and probably a mixture of celebrity today, because you do different things. Everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to have a photo with you. The fact that you visit their city, which is under bombing now, inspires people. They call me from sieged cities and want me to say something on WhatsApp video, just to increase their temper and all that kind of things. So it's actually you inspire people. That's actually I continue doing what I did in a peaceful time, but this time you don't invite people to buy tickets to your rock concerts. You just go to them directly, and you just spend your money and money of volunteers to bring them something. So it's the opposite, but the essence is the same. I give them energy.
You're giving them energy. And how would you describe their energy? And of course, I imagine it's different in all these different places that you're visiting, but what's the mood, what's the spirit of the Ukrainians you're meeting?
Ukrainians are very furious. Ukrainians are very focused. Ukrainians are ready to fight till the end of war, which they want to end with victory. So they're not ready to give up. They're not ready to panic. They're not ready to subverse, and they're great. I'm proud of my people. I think I can tell you without any exaggeration, I think Ukraine today is the bravest nation in the world.
Yeah, I think
because who we fight. So we are David who fights the Goliath, and actually, and I think we will win. Exactly this, but for the same reason that David, won this battle with Goliath, just because we have better motivation.
Mm. And when you're meeting these people, are you playing music for them? Are you just speaking with them, talking with them? What's those?
It's mostly that I talk to them. I talk to them things they want to listen, but also sometimes some truth. I think is they maybe don't think about it, but I'm trying to prepare them for this truth. Sometimes I sing, sometimes I read my poems. Actually, the last poem which I wrote, which is called where it came from, my hatred, because actually hatred is a very new feeling for me. I'm 46 now, and I never experienced any hatred to any person, any people. I'm trying to be a good man, but now I have this hatred in my heart, and it's toxic, and it certainly presses you, and it poisons you. But I know that the only way to get rid of this hatred is to win the war.
Mm. Is that because of an overwhelming sense of injustice of what you're seeing?
Absolutely. I think that a crazy dictator who, because of being so many years in power, lost the feeling of reality, imposed a war which, in my opinion, at least in Europe, it's the biggest and the bloodiest affair and the most, overwhelmingly horrible thing that happened since World War II. And I mean it.
Wow. But despite this feeling, I've seen actually you doing some really positive things. I mean, just like
yes, the hatred is only for the enemy, but this hatred is. It's a strange feeling. I cannot tell you, because I'm still a kind person. I love people. I'm very happy to see anybody, but somewhere deep there is this kind of new motivation just to destroy your enemy.
Hmm.
And I think I'm not alone. I think 40 million Ukrainians feel the same, completely the same. It is probably, if you can compare it, if you can ask I presume you're British, right?
Yes.
So you can ask your grandfather or somebody from that generation, how did they feel at first moments when Germany started bombing English cities? Mm. It's probably the same. You focused, you're ready to fight, but you feel some hatred. You hate your enemy because you don't know why it happened. Why were they there doing that? I mean, what the fuck did they want? And the problem, the deeper layer of problem here in Ukraine is that Russians, contrary to some Arabic world and Israel, they are not ready to recognize the very existence of the state. So they were masking it during all these 20-something years. But frankly speaking, they never deep inside in their political elite, they never tolerated the fact that Ukraine is an independent state. They always treated it as a just lost territory they need to get back. And they want to impose this Russian world, so-called Ruski Mir, in Ukraine. But the thing is, Ukrainians are sick and tired of that. They are completely different nations. So we look similar, our languages are similar, but our DNAs are completely different. So for Ukraine, dignity and freedom is something they are ready to die for. As we see for Russians, not so much, because they are afraid of being imprisoned, and that's why they then go to the streets, because at the end of the day, they can stop Putin. If 1 million of people goes, floods in streets of Moscow or St. Petersburg, it may be over.
Hmm. And just to add to what I see you doing as a positive thing, but ties in with what you're saying there, is that you've been sending videos addressing Russians themselves and the mothers of Russian soldiers. Am I right in understanding that?
Yes, because you need to talk to them. You need to address them, your messages. And my message is very simple. Look, it's your children. There is a chance that you stop them and you do something so they don't become, tools, bloody tools in the hands of Putin. Yes, it's risky. Yes, they maybe go to jail or something, but at least they will not have bloods on their heads of innocent children or hands in Ukraine, but also that will save them from being killed in action in Ukraine. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kill them in action if they come. And our soldiers have been doing it for these 10 days. They've lost more than 11,000 people. So it's a huge number for the war today. I mean, it's an overwhelmingly huge number. And it will be only bigger and bigger and bigger. It's in 10 days, 10,000. What will be in a month or in half a year? You do the math.
And just to your point of the kind of long history of Ukraine and Russia, and is there how united are Ukrainians? Are there those of Ukrainians who are perhaps more culturally or consider themselves more Russian? Is there a split there at all, or
24th of February completely changed the narrative. So before, we had some people who had pro-Russian sentiments. I assume it diminished or vanished at all. So I think 99% of Ukrainians are ready to fight, and they treat Russia as an aggressor and as an enemy. And they started, and those who hesitated and had doubts, they actually buried these doubts on the ruins of Ukrainian homes and Ukrainian women and children and innocent people who died there. So the Rubicon has been, crossed. So the Rubicon has been crossed for Ukrainians, and it's very clear that the numbers of how much Western-oriented Ukrainians are now. You can see the polls. So 85% of Ukrainians want to join EU. I don't think that in EU member countries there are such big numbers. 76% of Ukrainians want to join NATO, and it jumped 25% from in a week.
The joining the EU and joining NATO are two of the grievance Putin, and this is in no way excusing what Putin's doing, but that's the Western-facing approach for Ukraine taking is one of his grievances, and if Ukraine were to join the EU or NATO, would that not be an escalation? Do you think that would be a solution for?
We already have escalation, which I don't think can be even bigger. First of all. Second, we're not talking about that anybody will be happy to get Ukraine today. So I'm realistic. So I'm a musician, but I'm an idealist, but I'm not a romantic guy. So I understand that today is impossible. But the thing is that Ukrainians want it, and it's a general consensus. So that's a fairy tale, and bad fairy tale created by Putin's propagandists that Ukraine actually wants to be in Russian world. Ukraine never wanted actually, but even the second thoughts that some Ukrainians had now are evaporated, So it's complete, it's cohesion, it's unification, it's we stand by each other, and actually it's a birth of a big new political nation. And I'm sure that no matter what will be the impact of the war from the military side, Ukrainian nation now is ready to last for the next 1,000 years.
And seeing that as a sort of sign of hope, I've seen numbers that 100,000 Ukrainians have now joined the territorial army.
Yeah, and they come more and more and more. So it was 80,000, now it's 100. It's going to be 120 probably in a couple of days. So we don't know when the number stops, and it's very encouraging.
And do you have any interaction with your former colleagues in government? And is there any?
Not so many, because they're doing their job. I'm doing my job. I talked mostly to Roman Kostenko, who is a member of Party of Golos and MP, but he's also a former, I don't know how to say it to you, how you call this in English, let's say a sort of Navy SEAL. So he's elite, former elite intelligence combat officer, you know, and he's one of the best in Ukraine. And so he's now in one of the cities fighting in Mykolaiv. He's fighting in combat, yeah, and he's doing great job. So he has his own unit. So sometimes we talk. I also talk to my friend, former journalist Serhiy Rachmanin, who is in Ukrainian self-defense in Kyiv. So these are two people. But I support anybody. Actually, it's not about politics. It's about winning the war. We can have different opinions on politics, including the politics of President Zelensky, but now we all support him as a commander-in-chief, because that's what we need to do. We have a task, we have an aim, we need to win the war.
And do you have? What are your plans? Do you have plans for the coming days? Do you plan to stay in Lvov, or do you?
No. I'm coming back to Central and East Ukraine, and I'll keep doing what I do till we win.
Do you have any message for the people of Britain and the international community?
Yeah, I have three simple messages. First message: thank you. Thank you for all you've been doing and you are doing for Ukraine now. Both you and your government are doing a great job for Ukraine. No matter how is your political attitude to an existing government, your government, I think they're doing a great job, particularly in supporting Ukraine now. So that's my message. Number two, it's not enough. What we need is planes, airplanes, and good air defense systems. So we need to fight Russians and have equalize them not only on land, but also in the sky. And third, and most important, although maybe controversial, we need and we urge all of you to make a decision to close the sky of Ukraine, because if you close the sky, the war is over. And I'm convinced, I know I'm just a private person, but I'm convinced that World War III is less imminent when you close the sky than if you don't. Because if you don't, there's a big chance that in a worst case scenario, Russia wins the war, and it will just beginning of a nightmare for all free world. Or I don't want my words to be like omen, but it's something that I feel. Either we stop him now, or it's going to be Hitler and 1938, 1939. So I think Putin feels power. So if he sees that this, very persuasive and very definite actions from other countries, especially the United States, Britain, and their allies, he won't be there enough to start the World War III. I don't think so. Once again, it's my private opinion, but I'm somehow convinced. So the more you push him, the more he's afraid. If you want, so deter, yes. Appease, no. Thanks God, no.
If even if it doesn't start World War III, is not it a danger that it would escalate the conflict itself in Ukraine and be more damaging for the people of Ukraine themselves? Maybe
you're right at the very beginning, but in the mid-term, and certainly long term, it will give us opportunity to win. It's very similar to what you had first during Blitzkrieg and then battle over England. So you need just first push. You need help. Here, you had American ships giving an aid for you. You had other things. You just won the time, and then you won afterwards. We need to win the time.
Well, thank you. And is there anyone else we should be paying attention to? Anything else that you think we're not paying attention
sanctions,
to?
certainly sanctions. The world has already been has already done a lot of things, but we need more. And we need sanctions not to make Putin feel bad, but we need sanctions that will touch every Russian. And we don't want them to suffer. We want them to give them motivation to flood the streets. If motivation of killing of Ukrainian innocent people is not enough, then probably we need motivation for their lives to be changed. I don't know. If they feel shortage of food in their country, they will understand that they need to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we need sanctions. The more the better. Business sanctions, economic sanctions, financial sanctions, traveling sanctions, you name it.
Mm. Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time.
And one more thing that we need.
Please.
We need just moral, spiritual support. And I know that many celebrities, many musicians, including England, famous musicians, already contacted us, and they propose their help. It's great. Let's do something together. Let's do a song together. Let's see that the whole world supports Ukraine, not only military or economically, but also in arts and spiritually. That's very important as well.
No, totally.
We are here waiting for you.
Yeah. Well, we're here praying for you, and we'll continue to pray for you and pray for peace in this unbelievable time. And I'm tremendously grateful for you taking time out.
Thank you very much. My honor.
Oh, the honor's ours. God bless you, and yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
See you.
Thank you.